Welcome up, what is back? We are here playing Brazil in Victoria 3. Last episode was a little bit of an exciting one. We won a war against France with Great Britain's help, from which we took war reps, really allowed us to crank up construction. And then we also passed proportional taxation, which allowed us to, kind of keep that construction high even after the war reps faded out. We tried a little bit of a sneaky war against Great Qing. It wasn't very successful. We were trying to do quad landings type of thing in order to just enforce basically just war reps on them, because Great Qing is really great to take war reps off of because it's based off your GDP, and their GDP is massive, but it's massive on the basis of subsistence farms, so they're really not powerful off of their GDP. But we just wanted to try and get that in. We couldn't, and now we will be continuing on. Some inflection point that's particularly important for this episode is we are going to be building the universities up to cap, and so we will not be adding much construction very soon, or despite us kind of making money, we won't be adding construction because we're about to be spending a whole lot more on innovation, but this means we'll be really able to really take off, in terms of tech. And in particular, I think what we're going to be doing is we are going to be coming back and doing a few production techs. We're also researching dialectics to make these unis even better, do a few production techs, and I think that at some point we are going to want to make a push for both human rights. Yeah, I think mainly human rights is kind of what we want to make a push for. So we're going to do some production tech, then maybe come back for some society tech. Our tech spread will grow a lot on the back of this universities, and so it'll help to fill stuff out. We might start going ahead of time on stuff. I don't think that we necessarily want to go ahead of time for human rights, but maybe we could do this. The thing is, we want so many tier 3 techs in society, and then go into malaria prevention. Maybe this is kind of more the plan. We'll see how things go, how they develop, but for now we'll take it on pause and we'll be off on our way. I think we have a decent amount of infamy, if I recall correctly, which I don't, so we could be declaring a war here. We do want to start annexing these unrecognized boyos here, in particular. Such as Fudojalan, Karta, and Sengo. The reason being is great powers are much more likely to kind of stick their finger in your pie over those. We really want to annex Transvaal, but that's going to be for a later time, so why don't we just take an annex on Fudojalan, and we will send over a couple battalions. Just kind of have a few from each side, and just get in there. We also can annex Gran Colombia, but I think we won't do that quite yet. Let's take a look. We want to make sure we keep good relations with Great Britain. We want to make sure that they stay genial. It makes it less likely that they join in plays against us. Of course, the AI is often psychotic and joins plays anyways, but this sort of thing. We've been struggling a little bit with migration specifically to the capital, which has also been interesting specifically for Brazil, because we have so much migration attraction everywhere. Normally, you can get a huge pull into your capital, but here the problem is relative to other countries, we can't get, or relative to other places, we can't, with this available unemployment, really prioritize the capital like you can in other countries because we have this unused arable land modifier. So we're going to have to start to spread out the production a little bit more, and so this is something I think I messed up a little bit. We'll take the enactment chance. And so we're going to be looking to spread out, our industries, which is kind of what we started doing. We have, most of these places are going to be, we're going to putting on auto expand, one industry kind of with every coastal province that is not running a malice, for, that isn't running a malice for construction and, not throughput, construction and, infrastructure. We will be trying to have them focus on at least one industry, and expand out. So why don't we kind of, this one's focused on clothes already. I think we already got this focused on steel, but we have no focus here. I think we have a place focused on motor industries. Generally speaking, why don't we put another in on motor industries and put it on auto expand? We could also put the tools on auto expand, but the point is it's going to be a lot easier for us to find labor in these places. We're going to put this on auto expand, but I don't think it's going to necessarily build that tall. This, I think, is clearly going to be a food industries auto expand. Yeah. Here we want to just keep expanding the iron mines in particular. they are having employment because we don't have a lot of pops here. So let's not build anything more there. And we don't have a lot of pops here either, so we're just going to leave these. Actually, we might put this on auto-expand. It won't auto-expand if it's not fully employed, and so it'll be able to handle itself. It's mainly focused in the wood industries, which all of our places are going to be using quite a lot of wood. And we get soil-enriched farming, which is going to be big nice, because we want to go nitroglycerin kind of early-ish or next-ish. What is natural spreading? Fractional distillation? Okay. We should be getting through them pretty quickly here. But just kind of want to set stuff up. But we're not going to set anything up, for example, here. Because here there's just absolutely insane infrastructure and state construction efficiency malices. We have minus 10% infrastructure here. And minus 33% infrastructure here for minus 44% infrastructure. So you have to pay a ton on the infrastructure. We would really prefer not to build any you know, manufactories here, and if we were in complete control of the queue, this is what we would do, but we're not, so that's how it is. Dialectics is nice. We're going to be switching that on in just a moment. I think with the Amazonas, we're going to add a logging camp and put it on auto-expand, and then we're going to come back here. I think this is the only place we have unis, and we're going to swap them all to philosophy department, which is very notably, it's barely any more cost in terms of paper. Paper is really not a huge expense for you, but you get quite a bit more output in terms of innovation. And we're building them all tall here for the max throughput bonus, as big as we can, but one problem is going to be employing up. Alright. We reform anything, and what laws do we want to pass? So currently we're working on this, I assume, because we wanted to go guaranteed libs. Just kind of taking a quick look. It's been a hot, like, day or two since we've played, but we do want to get on multiculturalism. But other than that, you know, we're kind of in good shape here in regards to what we can pass and what we have passed. We would like to come off the child labor, but we can't do that yet. We will want to try and we're trying to get the trade unions up. I imagine that we will be able to start getting there once we get labor unions. We will be able to get them into at least 5% power. So maybe labor unions will be our next tech. We'll see. Be a pretty good one. We also, I think, are floating a bit of extra institution. So why don't we increase our education or a bit of extra bureaucracy? And we're natural spreading some other more bureaucracy stuff. So this is also nice. Or it's going to be good timing with, we can do this. We don't want national supremacy support. Inefficient agriculture. Sure. We have a movement for census suffrage and universal suffrage, and we annex Fujian pretty comfortably here. And so we're going to just go after Carthage with the... So we see that Great Britain is likely to side with them. How about Great Britain's likely to side with them? So in this time, Great Britain must... they're not even cautious towards us. Really don't like the AI, but we don't want the Great Britain to have problems with us, so... we'll just take the minus 10% enactment chance. We also did have a little bit of an initial kind of problem. We're in the British market, by the way. Initial kind of problem with them starting to not run enough convoys. And so maybe we want to start thinking, you know, long-ish term about getting out of their market. Now, we can't annex these guys. Can we annex these guys or just everything? Looks like they don't have a problem with us annexing them. Which would be a nice little annex. So we're going to go after these guys. Really don't have a very large army. We've deleted a big chunk of it because we knew we did not want to really rumble too much with GPs anyways, and we were starting to get squeezed when we were trying to pass proportional taxation. We will want to eventually build the military back up, but right now it also really hurts that we would want to put it in the capital, the military that is, and we are having pretty significant employment problems specifically in the capital, which means actually that we don't have to pay too much, like for example for this uni. We're not having to pay like the full price, but we are getting the benefit of the throughput, which is why we are making so much money, because we had anticipated, you know, being able to do that. We're gonna add some more construction centers then. So we're gonna add the construction centers specifically. We're gonna add a couple in a lot of places that do not have any. That's quite a few construction centers. So that should kick us up over 300 construction. Construction is roughly your GDP growth, so that'll be good. No one has sided with them. Why are they confident? Oh, because they're getting annexed. That's how that goes. Alright, we're going to look to land behind them with a bunch of these little ones. You know, on various other territories and just create an enormous amount of fronts. And then this way we'll be able to kind of finish them out pretty early. Now we're only making 12k now. It's this number plus this number, and we still got unis finishing, but the unis cannot fully employ. Nor can we really pull enough migration, because there is a cap on available employment, and there's a cap on unused arable land, and as we discussed earlier, these caps, the effect of the plus 10 on the employment is heavily diluted by the available agriculture in all these places. But overall, it's good that we're kind of where we're at, so we're going to land with all the 6 stacks, or the 3 and the 6 stacks, and we're going to land every single one of these. Hopefully they don't have too much of a navy. So we actually have a disadvantage here, but we'll see. We'll try and get a little bit of a push in. And now we're losing a big chunk of money. And these unis will eventually employ up, so we will probably just sit on this 300 construction for a little bit. But yeah, they cannot fully employ up, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we're still benefiting from the throughput, so we really don't mind that they can't employ all the way up. Because we would not, the main reason we're building is because we're building for the throughput, not because this is the amount of universities we want to have. This is the throughput we want to have, is more the idea. I think this mathematically is better. Please don't make me do the maths. But, yep. We get the good roll, so of course we're smart and handsome. That's how that works. Ba-boom! You see that? That was so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Just four fronts all drop at once. And they're just gonna get wrecked here. Of course, the guys get reassigned to a different front, because Paradox has made a wonderful game. I mean, they have made a wonderful game, but combat sucks. But they'll get occupied and annexed very quickly in short order. Now, we did get a central archives, but we're not going to need it for a while. Basically until we get another institution. Although, we could look to increase police force levels. I don't think this is quite too terribly good. Although we're about to be annexing stuff. It helps when you're annexing and incorporating. We could maybe look at what we are incorporating and try and incorporate a little bit more. So let's incorporate maybe Brazilian Guinea, Zululand. This should be a little bit of a cheaper one. Ooh. Also this. And then we'll come in here and we'll switch these over to standardized filing. And we'll slowly look to switch everything over. Why do you all go to one front? Please spread out. That's the whole point of us having all these. This is why we can't have nice things, by the way. They're almost fully occupied. Looks like, what is this? La Plata, some sort of uprising here. I'm sure Chile will be able to handle it themselves. I think after this, we actually want to be protectorating some of these guys. So anyone who's not defending the borders, we will kind of look to maybe bankroll. We can't bankroll yet, that's right. We don't have central banking. Or do we? We don't have the Diplo or whatever. So let's see if we can rival anyone. Portugal seems like a fine one. We don't want to rival a GP, I don't think. The Dutch East Indies seems like a fine rival. And so this will also help our infamy decay. And we will see about bankrolling up. We can't do it. Well, we like the infamy decay. I guess we don't mind firing the general. We're not going to even look at his stats. We have too many generals from that Chinese debacle where we tried to quad land them to enforce on them. But will you just accept regular peace? Alright, yeah. So we're good. Now we're going to use our button to reset all the PMs. And then we're also going to incorporate, and it's very nice that we will be looking to get the Panama Canal. I don't think we could survey it yet because we don't have the prerequisite tech. But we will also incorporate all this as well. Although some of it I think is a 20-year incorporation, like the internal, like inland one. I think this is overall fine for us to do. Rio de Janeiro, we will turn these on to standardized filing. And next time I think we will turn all of them on to standardized filing. I think we'll take the Loyalists here. Let's see how big a bump it gives us. What? It didn't move at all. Oh, was it just in a single region? Yeah, that's not ideal. Alright, we'll delete these unis here. Because we want unis that have a ton of economies of scale throughput. And we'll delete the uni here. Specialized good production? Well, that helps. Alright. So, I don't think... It's going to be tough for us to keep the price of iron, coal, and steel low. But we can try this for this little objective. Why don't we... Well, we don't want to build here because they have a pretty significant malice. I think Versat should not be too bad. They have bad infrastructure. Zululand should have a little bit of one. We're just going to put 2 railways at the head of the queue. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem. I think we're incorporating here. It is already incorporated. Okay. Well, we're going to make some progress there. We're going to check our infamy. It should be close to... It's pretty high. Let's see how Great Britain feels about... We're not going to give away Panama. We're going to reject the deal. We want Panama ourselves, and it may lead to conflict in the future. Unfortunately, this may... Yeah, they're now cautious against us, so if we try and annex, yeah, they'll side against us. So we have to really make sure we are improving relations with some of the people who are less on board with Great Britain, let's say. But we have to consider this a sign that we will probably not be able to do a customs union soon. So I think that some of these territories that have the agriculture bonus... So they have a bonus to agriculture, which just applies to the maize and the livestock. That's kind of not... We have mainly maize and livestock. We don't have too much... I don't think we have very many rice... Oh, we do have a decent amount of rice farms. Okay. Because rice is kind of where it's... We would rather build the rice farms than the maize. And maybe we can set this rice farm to auto-expand to kind of discourage the building of maize. Got a lot of Irish people here. And they're gonna not have too much employment, so it will build up relatively slow. I think I like this idea. We'll just set just a single, but this is also going to provide us with more grain. We also want to find a place to supply us with a little bit of cotton. So looking for a place that has relatively high cotton buildup relative to its other stuff, like this, because you want to push economies of scale. And so we might just put this on auto-expand. And so it will slowly build up more and more cotton, which it'll approach a level 51 economies of scale throughput bonus. And there's also a decent amount of people here too. And so we don't really want to emphasize a ton of agriculture, but emphasizing a little bit will help us to determine where it is. Like, for example, this is going to be where our grain production is, and so it discourages the auto queue from building it all over the place. It'll be a little bit more specialized. It will not be maize, which is less efficient, and so we'll dodge that. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't delete stuff while you're on, was it the laissez-faire? And the UK doesn't want to... Alright, if we go after Sintang, let's say, maybe the UK won't join? It says that they think they won't. This is a fine little place to grab because there is gold in Sintang. So, why don't we just go after it? We'll send 2 7 stacks just in case it splits funny. We maybe want to consider rebuilding the military, but currently we're losing a lot of money in terms of government situation. If the UK joins against us, we will probably just, and we can't sway them to our side, we'll probably just load, but actually, we might just be able to enforce on this. It depends what the UK asks for, I guess, but I'm I'm not 100% sure, but if they join, I guess they would join and ask for Panama. Gold's been discovered in Transvaal. You love to see it. We lose the Chilean war reps. Big sad. I think we're gonna try and protectorate these guys. And we have to think about what we're getting after nitroglycerin. I think we really want the trade unionist bonuses. I don't think they're very happy with us, but we're going to try and make them happy. And so I think labor movement will be really big. We get rights of assembly. We're going to go guaranteed libs next. We are running a pretty big authority deficit, so we're going to nuke one of our consumption taxes, I think. Unless we have something better to get rid of. Now, let's get rid of this. We can always increase taxes here. We still have a decent amount of peasants. But having them lower is a little bit better on proportional. So we'll just keep them where they're at for now. And for laws, we will try and get in guaranteed liberties, which will help us to get more approval rating in the long term. I think we'll just do... Industrialists mega approve of us. I think we'll just do this just to try and massage it a little in our favor. And let's see here. Unfortunate. Gold's been depleted. So I think that means that we are going to want to come in and build some gold mines. North Borneo probably is fine on building construction. Brazilian Northern Cape might have some infrastructure. Actually, they're probably fine. Yeah, let's do all that. Stick another one at the front there. In terms of rails, because I know they had some problems. Nobody jumps in on the Sintang War, which is nice. So we'll just be getting a nice little pickup there. Again, probably looking to diplomatically get the rest of these guys here in South America. Cooperative, conciliatory, genial. We can't invite them to the customs union because it's not our customs union, but the ones that are not defending the borders, I guess maybe we have to conquer the ones that are defending the borders, but the other ones we can try and get diplomatically. Peru, Bolivia. And these should be pretty straightforward. We assign 2 guys not because we need 2 guys, but in case the fronts split funny, and so we don't have to pay super close attention to it. Would like to get these guys annexed. Let's actually take a look at what we're doing in terms of colony establishment. Yeah, let's get these. And we want to make sure we don't get completely cut off from this northern portion, although we can always take Congo if it's still available. We should be colonizing at a decent clip too. It's based off your incorporated pops, of which around 2/3 of ours is incorporated. We could really use some more pops though. We might have to... I mean, we can't fight China, but Right now, we should be siphoning off quite a bit. The whole point of getting into the UK's customs union has been siphoning off their pops, and if you take a look at our overall population, we are incorporating them, but we have like 500,000 Irish, 200,000 English, which is down quite a bit, so that means we've been incorporating them. I'm not sure if English accepts Irish, that might be why they're coming. We unlocked nitroglycerin. We haven't prepared for this one too much, but luckily we don't have to. Oop. So let's take a pause here. Reset some PMs. In here. In North Borneo. That should fix most of it, yeah. And then we're going to take a look through. Can we do smooth bores profitably now? We can. We don't want to do that. Maize farms. Why is this not on soil enriched farming? We're going to keep this on simple ranches so that our chem plants can be more profitable later. So, but we're going to go nitroglycerin in all of these, and hopefully the UK can bear it. And just fix up all of these. Doing all those on auto expand and all those on auto expand. And that should about cut it. War in Pari. Para. This one, is this a recursive event? Maybe we just have to crush them. We've gotten that event several times. I'm not sure what exactly it does, but hopefully just crushing them once and for all will work. Blungan and Kutai are both pretty good takes, so we'll probably go after them as well. Now that we're not trying to expand militarily up here. I guess maybe we want to Dominion Venezuela, because they're defending the borders. So let's take a look at what they're doing here. I think we also might want to improve relations with these guys. We cannot improve relations. Okay. I think Peru, Bolivia is going to be more important because they're already poor with us. What if we dominion you? Great Britain likely sides against us. Yeah, they are starting to really... They just really want the Panama Canal, don't they? Alright, if we do these guys... it's unlikely that the Britons side against us. We probably should just take a save beforehand. I mean, I wonder if Great Britain's gonna dow us at some point. Unfortunately, if they dow us for Panama, I'm pretty sure we're in rough shape, right? So let's look at strategic regions. For Central America, so the US has an interest here, and that's kind of the only other biggish person who has an interest here, so maybe we want US to like us as well, so that they can help us if this comes to be. I think we want to go after Belungan, though. We'll just conquer both their states, yeah. And hope that Great Britain does not join. And if they join for something silly like opening someone's market, we'll just back down, otherwise we'll load. Really wish plays were a lot more transparent, but I also do like that they're not as transparent as like EU4, which is transparent to the point of absurdity. We'll take the minus 15% enactment chance. This one's not super important for us to get through. We would like to get it through, but it's not absolutely essential. The trade unions are slowly coming up. They should come up pretty quick once we get labor movement, because there is a hidden modifier, or it's not explained in here, but they get like plus 50% pop attraction. Oop, we do have a barracks here, so oop, that's not a barracks. Wow, that's wild that there's like no arable land that's been used. I think that we generally want dye plantations here, so we'll put it on auto expand for dyes. Interesting. Our queue always feels like it's taken forever to work through these gold mines. They must have pretty significant construction malice, but at this point we're so close to finishing them, we just want to finish them. But maybe we shouldn't have built them. But also the gold mines will really help on this front. You know, we don't want to delete construction. I'm guessing the school is finally starting to get some labor. Not really. It is giving us max throughput either way, though. Which is what we care about. Because we're spitting out 35 innovation. I think we would want it to be fully employed, but it is giving us more active research, so it's not the worst. Oh, we should have, we get a native uprising. We'll send this guy and the small guy, I guess. I think we will want to put a chemical plant down somewhere. So let's find a place that has probably the most available labor and look to put down a chem plant that is incorporated. Antiquolia. Where is this? Antiquolia. Oh, it's over here. I'm guessing we don't want to put it there because we are going to have some turmoil. Oop, not that. Let's see, where do we also have the most available labor? British Guinea, Rio de Janeiro, it looks like, has a decent chunk of available labor. So we'll put that there, and then, yeah, it looks like they're specializing in other stuff anyways. We'll put up a few levels, and we'll put it on ammonia process and auto expand. And we'll also play a little bit of whack-a-mole, because the auto queue is not too good at handling this yet. Relative to other runs, it feels pretty bad at handling it. But we'll just do that. Get all that under control. Actually, we will not do this one here. We would actually prefer to do it through ports. So let's just add a few ports, because we are going to be needing ports once we are going to be leaving the UK's market. Which is hopefully not too soon, although it might be sooner than we normally would kind of want. I think just the 3 stack there should be fine, especially because we're going to move the 7 stacks over in case there's a funny front splitting. I think we might put in a colonization here on Hero. Actually, let's see if it looks like we're doing 50 days. It looks like we're getting 50-day colonizations, in which case you definitely want to be on more. So we're going to establish a colony in Hero and a colony down here. Or up here. Oop. Would like it up here as well. Here. And so now it's not on 100 days. Maybe we can even cut off France. I forgot air actually has a huge amount of resources, so it's pretty good to get to. We get guaranteed lives, and so now we're going to turn on. Whoa, what happened here? We're going to use our button. Our favorite button. I don't think people understand how exciting this button is. Alright. Everything looks fine-ish. And then we're gonna switch to standardized filing everywhere, which gives us a bureaucratic surplus. Nope. Know if it's enough. It is enough to increase home affairs. We could also increase the law enforcement, which is decent considering we're incorporating some of these states. I'm not sure which one I want at this point. I used to undervalue law enforcement a lot. It's really, really good if you're conquering stuff. I think we maybe aren't gonna really see the benefits of it, though, as much. We're doing decent on the money now. Money moves. The London will be also quite nice. improving relations. We maybe want to go after Venezuela, but the UK has other thoughts in mind about us going for it. Let's just check our queues. And it should be mainly like logging and, yeah, logging and fish and this sort of stuff. And we are trying to diversify a little bit because we understand that we might be leaving the UK's market in relatively short order. But not quite yet. Nice, we get the place that's adjacent to the Congo, which is actually big fantastic. We might go for a dominion on the Congo if that's the case. Since that's the case, a little bit of lucky for us. Which dominioning and then annexing the Congo is generally pretty good. And then we can probably go out and annex Transvaal with our next war once this finishes up. I really wish if you fully occupied someone, they would just immediately capitulate. But instead we gotta wait them down. But this is a relatively minor complaint. We got improving production, yay. It's still gonna be very difficult to do this one. Iron, coal, steel. Let's just take a look. Oop. Where do we have another? Okay, they're all there. Where is it that we just got incorporated? I'm losing my mind here. Someplace with rice? Oh, all the Belangan. Yep, okay. Why don't we incorporate these? Because I think they're relatively cheap right now, and they will become much more populated later. And then we'll also reset the PMs. And then now everything should be good. No, but the sulfur, for whatever reason, I really hate that. It's swapped back. We swapped it, and then it's just swapped back. There's no other place that's got any sulfur built. Sulfur is something we're going to want to build out, though. So maybe here in North Borneo, we just set it on auto-expand, because we currently have no sulfur. We probably do also just generally want to push the dyes a little bit if we can. Let's see where we can build dyes, where we have a lot of labor. Kenya, it looks like. I think Kenya is pretty fine on, let's just build one and have them focus on it and have it auto-expand. And I think that means we're going to need to put a port at the front, and we're kind of happy to have a port. We'll put a port in the back here, and we'll put a port in the back here. And we do have a decent amount of convoys. Credit the workers, of course. And now we're starting to make some money. This trade route's no longer very profitable. The importing of silk one is huge, though. We can't really produce that ourselves. Let's see what else we can do. We want to try and import grain to discourage our own queue from building grain. Not looking too good on that front. Fabric is kind of a similar deal. It's imported from Messina. And then coffee. We want the routes to be relatively large because we don't want to pay too much for what's going on. Meat's definitely one. So we want to encourage the queue to build a particular way. Maybe something like this. Maybe not that many. Which is the least productive sugar one we're gonna take out, I think. We get colonization rights, and we have our war finished. Let's see if Great Britain is likely to finger our pie. They are. It's unfortunate. It's blocking our style, man. We're gonna damage relations with them. I mean, we could go after Sulawesi. Which is a fine one. Kutai's a little bit better, I think, if I'm not mistaken. We actually don't quite have the military we would like to be able to fight like the Dutch East Indies, so why don't we just come in here and we're going to take a look. We're actually going to take a look at where we have general troops and where we have generals. I think Grand Colombia HQ, we will want to just kind of lean into this a little bit, but not the Indonesia or the Senegal HQ. Actually, maybe the Senegal HQ is okay. No. And then we'll delete the army that we have in those two places. Kakua, I forget where this is. I think it's in South America. Does it say somewhere? State region, Kakua. Antioquia. We know we have 3 in this HQ, right? So let's just find them. Wait, why can't we? Because that's not ours. That would make sense. British Guinea. And then we'll come in here, and we know that they're probably in here somewhere. Okay, so we're all kind of... Everything's the way we want it. Super. Probably also want to take Montenegro. Let's see about how we look on interests. Yeah, we have one there. Ooh, that's not good. That interest isn't there. And then... maybe here? Something like this. Starting to make some money here. Just a moment. And I am back. For you, it was only a couple seconds, but for me, it was a hot minute. I was thinking, kind of the theme of this episode really has been trying to prepare for leaving the UK's market. And I think there's one other thing we want auto-expanding that we can build, and that is sugar plantations. We definitely want these auto-expanding, but they are. But sugar. So we're just going to see where we have the most labor that can build this. And it is well, we know we have construction issues in here and here, but not in Rio de Janeiro. So maybe in Rio de Janeiro, where we also have a lot of labor, or relatively high amount of labor, we are going to put this on... oh, well, we don't... not very profitable, even. Let's just take a look at the sugar again. So here has the most. So why don't we're going to set this one to auto-expand, even though it's going to be not that efficient. And normally we wouldn't be doing all this agricultural auto-expansion because you don't want to be that agricultural heavy. But when we leave the UK's market, this is going to be one area where we're going to be a little hamstrung. And so we want to be kind of try and insulate ourselves in that regard. And another thing is we are going to expand the military, but we're going to do it in a way that makes me cringe. We're going to build a level 1 barracks in a whole bunch of these places. The reason why is, first of all, there's not enough employment in the capital anyways. But second of all, by building a level 1 in all these places, we will be able to build up a much higher level later. What I mean by that is, when you have a level 1-1, when you initially build your first level 1-1, you have all the primary equipment adjustment. Once you have a level 1, and you upgrade it to like level 10, let's say, you don't have to undergo this primary equipment adjustment, so we're front-loading our primary equipment adjustment for if we need to dramatically ramp up the military later. And so this way, we will be more prepared on the military front, and finally, we will kind of, I think, want to take Qing provinces. I don't know how we're gonna do it. Maybe we can get help from like Russia or with France, something like this. This would make it a lot easier. If we could also get help from Great Britain, this would also make it easier. We do have a lot of different navies, so we could try and do a landing. I think we do have a truce with them for a little bit longer, which we kind of brought upon ourselves, but not too much longer. And so maybe this is going to be how we solve the population problem. The problem is we are going to need to get on human rights before we can do that. So I think we're going to be mainly stuck in on the cultural texts for a little while here, and just trying to focus them. Maybe go modern sewage, because that's fairly useful, but maybe go also ahead of time for human rights, just to kind of get the population managed. If we can get some Chinese pops migrating to our places, which will also, of course, help solve this in Sao Paulo, which is where we are having some problems. And so we'll continue on in this way, preparing for the end of the customs union. I think we will also need more construction centers in general. All these level 2 ones, we're going to just upgrade them. Or the non-multiple of 5 levels that we had built. And that should turn out pretty well. We get Indochina interest activated, which is going to be big nice. And we are conquering Kutai here, which is also going to be nice. Construction's coming on up. I think we started with 250 construction, so, you know, plus 100 construction is also pretty good. You know, our GDP is starting to crank up a little bit. I don't think we're going to pay anything to the parties. I think the Liberal Party is also really going to solidly win anyways, so maybe not. Maybe the Free Trade Party wins. It doesn't really matter because we'll just keep both in government. I suppose we do like the Liberal Party better because we can get liberals plus trade unions. So I guess maybe there's a slight chance we wanted to think about that a little bit more. Looks like the Free Trade Party is going to crush it here, though. Good old wealth voting. We will want to swap off of wealth voting eventually, but not yet. We do have to get universal suffrage for the achievement, so we're not going to go census. I think census is a little bit better, but it's also a little bit marginal. We get minting and loan interest rate. Notably, minting is really valuable because we have a lot of gold mines. So where is... We're getting 109k from minting, so you can see that little hitch up there because we're getting quite a bit from, you know, all these gold mines that we have, both in Brazil, but also in Borneo. And, you know, if you expand carefully and you take, like, this stuff in Orangey or Versat and the Northern Cape and eventually Transvaal, once the UK doesn't want to stick their fingers in it, this gives you quite a bit of gold, and so it makes these techs, like, quite a bit better, and I'm noticing almost every run this is the case, and so maybe banking, central banking, and etc. is a little bit better than it looks. We are natural spreading some stuff, and once we finish this labor movement, we do have a bit of a decision. The thing is, there's no society tech we're actually thrilled about here, but we want to, in general, push the society tech, and so this leaves us in a weird spot. We could form a more legitimate government with the Conservative Party. Conservative Party notably does not have landowners, which is interesting. Okay, so we get restricted child labor, regulatory bodies, etc., mostly etc. But this this technology is notably more than what it gives you, like, in terms of visibly. It also gives you plus 50% interest-group attraction for the trade unionists, which will help bring them up. But now we have to have a little bit of a think, you know, in regards to what where we're going tech-wise. We're just taking a quick look here. We could do poor laws to make people happy. Let's come back here. Let's go take a look at technology. And yeah, there's just no society tech we're thrilled about. So what we would kind of want to do is let 1 to 2 society techs natural spread to us and then go human rights. And so to that end, we could go, you know, general staff, which is really good and is currently not natch spreading. Or we could go, you know, we could go chemical bleaching so that we get into the tier 3 tech, production tech, a little bit faster. I kind of like this. But we want to make good use of natural spread, too. I don't think we're ahead, though. So I think we could just go chem bleaching. We'll just go baking powder first, so we finish baking powder, and then chem bleaching. Because chem bleaching will be the one that natural spreads. And then we can start pushing some of these other ones. Of which, I don't think we can make good use of shift work yet, because we're not that built up, and we're actually kind of spread out. But reinforced concrete is going to be good for us, I think. Let's see, are we building up? Yeah, we have an investment pool kind of built up a little bit. That's not quite that big. Maybe we aren't even super bullish on these tier 3 techs. And we just actually want to, maybe we just want to push the society techs that aren't very good so that we don't have to pay the penalty on this. We could start researching it. You know, modern sewage is okay. Let's go modern sewage into, probably into human rights. And then we might let a couple of these finish so that the human rights... I'm just not sure. I think I actually... Let's do general staff into modern sewage into human rights. General staff's going to be really... It's a very nice tech to have. We haven't researched a lot of military tech. We're going to research military tech eventually to not be behind time as much when we go like trench works. And so maybe going general staff here, like when we kind of can't find a tech research we're completely in love with, is just a good idea, especially because this will help us quite a lot if we want to fight China. And so maybe this is good. We'll see. Let's also take a look at making sure there's a level 1 barracks in Panama as well. And let's solve some infrastructure problems if we're not already. I think we are already. Not this one. And that'll be good. We are getting through on Kutai. And so we could also try and get them in our customs union instead of fighting them. This is the other thing. They're still cooperative with us. We can't invite them to the customs union, but it kind of gives us an idea. We're doing a decent volume of trade. Their attitude is okay. Russia's cooperative. Great Britain's still cautious. We're gonna have to use our button, our favorite button. And then we're going to take a look and see if we can annex Transvaal, which of course we've been wanting to do for a while. It says Great Britain's likely to side with the enemy. I've actually don't think I've ever seen them not side with the enemy when it says that's likely. We can go after Nej too, which has a very solid amount of oil, and no one's gone after them yet. How about annexing these guys? Great Britain doesn't like that either. They don't like us messing around in Africa, I think. I wonder what their strategy is here. Yeah, we don't want to colonize there. We want to colonize there. I wonder why that turned that color. Okay. Is that a bug? Looks like we're not on 50 day anyways, so it's not too big a deal. Would they let us Dominion Congo, the UK? It says they will. It's pretty cheap Dominion. It's also going to be very valuable when we annex them. It's also valuable territory. Like, it's quite resource dense here in the Congo. They have a lot of rubber and some iron. And so I think I like dominioning them in general. And if the UK is not going to have a stink about it, then I really like it. So why don't we do that and add a couple of guys to the front. 3 of these little guys should be fine. I think we'll try and get the guy from the other HQ. Yeah, Grand Columbia. Let's go. You gotta pull your weight, bud. And general staff is gonna be nice. I think we will also... Do we have munition plants that we can build? We do. Someone's getting auto-built in the Amazonas. That's not a place where we want to really have high level... Well, actually, it's like impossible to get to. Maybe it's the perfect place to build munition plants. Right? It has a ton of infrastructure problems. It has this infrastructure thing, yes, but maybe we're super fine with that. So we're going to build it up actually a few levels. to level 3. Because it's hard for anyone to get into it, so we're not going to lose access to it. Although I'm not exactly sure how that mechanic works. I think if they occupy it, it still stays active economically, so maybe that's just not a problem at all. We're going to delete the barracks here, of course. And we do have to keep an eye on... So, one of our major concerns is Great Britain not running enough convoys. We can improve relations with them. I think we're going to do that. We're damaging relations with them. Are they improving? Good, they're not. We're improving relations with them. We're going to improve relations with them. Basically, anyone who's not going to be defending the borders, we're going to try and look to get to... Or, well, it's only these 3 left, but we're going to look to get them diplomatically. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if General Staff is the right answer here. We're actually going to cancel these. I think it's good enough, though. Yeah, I think it's probably correct. Because we're not in love with either of these, really. Chemical bleaching's okay. But we'll also have fewer guys die when we have skirmish infantry. We'll have a much bigger advantage. Wars will be a little bit faster. This type of thing. We have a decent amount of infamy kind of built up. Maybe we should have just straight up annexed Congo if Great Britain's going to be a little bit stinky about us trying to incorporate guys. Maybe we could just take a war against Great Britain. The problem is I just don't think we can get enough support from other people. Just trying to think here what the next move will be after the Congo. I mean, we can just go after Sulu, which is kind of like the knee-jerk reaction. You're just like, well, we'll just keep conquering Borneo because it's really resource to population dense. I think Nej is probably best next, though. Probably expand construction a little bit here. Yeah, we can. Let's go, baby. Let's get to multiples of 5. Except in Sao Paulo. Let's just do all that. We also notably have a ton of the stuff used for construction. We have a ton of the wood and the iron, which is pretty good. Pretty happy about that. Insofar, I mean, we're gonna have way excess because we're the major producer of it relative to like Great Britain. Let's actually just take a quick look at their aisles and see what... I think it's just a bunch of manufactured goods. Yeah, we probably got to try and catch up on the manufactured goods a little bit. Oh, they're even kind of being smart about pushing economies of scale. The AI's improved so much, which makes the game a lot nicer to play. We're going to set this on auto-expand as well. I mean, we're kind of trying to push economies of scale. I mean, we definitely are, but we're a little bit behind on everything. All this, we have to make sure we have enough tools, though, because those are important for both the mines and the wood chopping, and we can export those if we need to. The tools, and the like chopping and stuff. So we're coming on out a little bit. Let's see if we are close anywhere to 31. And just kind of comb through that. We are in Sao Paulo, but I'm not even sure if it's fully employed. Yeah, it's not employed at all. So we just have huge problems here. We need the migration real bad, but we have like such a high migration level. The problem is it's just high everywhere. I mean, we're also like pulling off a bunch of pops here too. Just very interesting that you can't, like, build tall in one place anywhere near as well. Rio de Janeiro still has a decent amount of peasants. So we're not going to build anything in Sao Paulo. And then next is Minas Gerais, which already has quite a bit. So we'll not try and push the economies of scale on this. I guess we could try on this a little bit. Definitely want to get this to 31. Yeah, I mean, we'll construct out of this, like, kind of problems we're having. Do we have any tax problems? No. I think we're gonna go into Sao Paulo, or sorry, Rio de Janeiro. Add a couple of these in the front to handle this. And then a couple at the back. Mine, all mine, of course. Definitely want that extra output. More so than the migration, especially because we're trying to pull the migrants. We really need to get the migrants to Sao Paulo somehow. Been a little bit of a struggle on that regard. I think we're actually going to call it an episode here. So this episode, we've been trying to, you know, so there's a few things. We've been really struggling with the immigration specifically to Sao Paulo, and this is something you don't normally feel in a lot of your runs, because you normally get a huge extra migration attraction from available employment. And so because of this, like the standard of living and available employment and then the modifiers, like you attract to your capital. But here, there's the unused arable land modifier, and we have a ton of places that have the unused arable land modifier, which is diluting the pull of the capital here. And so the capital is having a really hard time pulling like a huge amount of migrants, even though the migration attraction, objectively speaking, is huge, you know. And so this is a bit of a struggle for us. Like there's also a huge migration attraction here for, like, you know, British Guyana, but I digress. So we've been struggling with that, thing one. We've also been trying to prep getting out of the British market, so we've been building a little bit inefficiently. You know, we have a place that's focusing on building up rice farms. It's not built up too many. We have another one for cotton and another one for sugar. But usually, I think that the time to do this is actually after you get like pump jacks and improved fertilizer, and we're doing it a little bit early. And so this will be hopefully good. And, you know, maybe that's actually kind of where we even want to go, is we want to maybe go into like kind of going for chem bleaching into, after this, just into pump jacks. Maybe this is a plan, something like this. But yeah, we've been prepping. We've done like a little small ball expansion. We expanded a bit over here. We got Congo. The UK has been kind of thumbing our pie. So mainly it's just been like slowly trying to maneuver our way into both getting out of the market well and being able to kind of combat the UK in a little bit more efficient manner. We're also getting skirmish infantry to that front, although we are not wanting to declare immediately. We're also building ports so that we'll have enough convoys to support trade routes to kind of prop up the market when we leave eventually. And so this has kind of been the run, just prepping the episode. Prepping the leaving mainly has been it. But we also added 150 construction, so that's also great. You know, the GDP growth is cranking up quite a bit. We'll see if we can keep that crank up. But right now, yeah, this is particularly problematic and acute, and we need to find more labor. And the problem is they're all, well, they're all working in, like, the ports and the, well, actually, maybe for here, we actually just run it as an anchorage. I think I like that, because that'll free up some of the employment, but they're all, like, in the railways. They're all in the construction centers. You know, they're all in the barrackses, which we kind of regret building up this tall. And maybe the thing to do is actually just, you know, downsize the construction center a little bit, downsize the barracks by about 5 levels. Now there's a ton of extra employment here, or there will be. I guess we have to probably unpause. Now we have 30k unemployed here, and so this means, you know, the 30k can, like, file in on the university and the tooling workshops and all these places, and this will be good. Yeah, you see these start to employ. They're starting to heal again. These are starting to employ. These are starting to employ. Everything's starting to employ, so maybe we should have done this way earlier. You know, just try and reduce some of the government employment in these places in particular. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.